Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brothers Take podcast, the podcast where nerdy brothers get together each and every week to talk about gaming. My name is Kris. I'm joined once again by my brother Eric.
Hello.
And in this week's episode, we are back in the room to talk about my favorite topic, always to talk about. I fucking always love bringing this shit up, talking about this stuff, theorizing about this stuff, talking about hopes for this stuff. That is Final Fantasy VII Remake, but this time we're talking part 3. So this month, the end of this month actually, will be the 1 year anniversary of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We're coming up to it being a year out. Since then, the game has obviously been nominated for multiple awards, has won awards, has now come out on PC. They're doing crossover things, whatever crisis. Rebirth has had a lot of hype, a lot of stuff. Eric actually made a prediction in our predictions episode at the start of the year that it would get DLC before this year is over. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that and hope we do actually get something and see something on that. But yeah, we're going to be taking the opportunity then to revisit the Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy and to talk about what we want to see, what we hope to see, maybe some theories we have about part 3. Just to start the train of looking forward to the next one. This probably won't be the only one of these that we do. It's a topic that, especially like when we get closer, they start revealing the title or they start doing trailers. Like that's a good time to start. Oh, we got to start talking about this shit again. It's always so fun, I find. But bear this in mind, then, everybody, that to do this properly, it will naturally feature spoilers for both. I should say more than both. For Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, for Final Fantasy VII Remake, for the original Final Fantasy VII, and the overall Final Fantasy VII compilation, basically. Because that is the lens through which we are talking about this. We have played those games, watched the movie, played some of the other games, know bits about some of the other games, and so yeah, we are jumping off of those things to talk about this and to talk about it in such a way where we're not doing it with our hands behind our backs. We can really talk about what we hope happens in the ending of the game. So you should bear that in mind if you're someone who's playing along with these things and you don't know what happens. That spoilers for Final Fantasy VII as a series, but not obviously spoilers for the last part of the remake because everything we say might not actually happen. We don't know what's going to happen. They could absolutely throw it all out the window. And we want you guys to join in on this discussion too. We don't want it to be just a one-sided discussion between just me and Eric. We want you guys to join in. So if you're watching YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to share your own hopes, theories, thoughts on what should happen in part 3, what you'd like to see in part 3, features, functions, anything like that. If you enjoy this episode, please do give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future discussions and episodes. And to those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take again to give your take on part 3 of Final Fantasy VII Remake. But without further ado, let's start theorizing. Okay, to try and make this less of a rambling, because this could go in multiple directions and all, I think we should try and be very clear ourselves on like doing sort of topics. Like, okay, let's talk about this for a bit. And let's
Right.
so that we can kind of, and within that, obviously, there can be little tangential things and stuff like that, right? And I think maybe a good place to start that maybe everyone can talk about, can theorize about, can jump on board with coming from Rebirth is that we have 2 new characters that we will be able to play as in part 3, being
Right.
Cid and Vincent, the party complete. You know, we're at that point now. We're there next. And I know when we were coming up to Rebirth, these were the things like we were talking about, like, how do you think Red 13's going to play? Because we know he's coming next. Or Kate Cid, how do you think they're going to do that, you know? So we can now start talking about Cid and Vincent, I think. And I like take it as a, like, how do you want them to play or how you think they'll do it or whatever? Like, who do you want to start with?
Well, I think Vincent would be the easiest.
Okay, cool, yeah. Yeah. And
You're
everyone's, I think, is
running.
excited about him, right?
It's gonna. But yeah, it's Vincent. But it's gonna. I'd say he's gonna be a faster, more visceral, and more combat effective version of Aerith. When you're attacking with Aerith,
Interesting.
you hang back, and she throws her little bubbles,
Of magic,
and
yeah.
and yeah, and that's kind of it.
Okay.
And well, Yuffie's the same as well. She hangs back and throws her blade,
Yes.
and has a mixture of all these different elemental spells with her ninjutsu. So I'd imagine Vincent would be like that, but that there would be more of a kick to it because he's firing the various firearms that he's got.
Yeah.
And then maybe you know why they kind of have like you press triangle and it's something else.
Yes.
So his triangle will probably be maybe he goes into like a beast form, or it's that he uses his claw then.
I was thinking about this. There's multiple ways they could go with it, and I think you're on the ball really. Um, like okay, to compare it to some other characters, yes, like the triangle thing, which does something different for everyone. But
Hmm.
like, yeah, will it work like Red 13, where it's like a bar that builds up through normal attacks, and when it's full and you push it, he turns into a beast, but for like a minimal amount of time?
Right, yeah.
Or does it work a bit like Yuffie, where like Yuffie attacks with the blade in her hand, standard, da, 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 and then if you push triangle, she throws it. So
Hmm.
she goes between ranged and whatever. So like with Vincent, could it be like going between the triangle and like your standard attacks? Like does it swap between shooting and melee attacks with the claw, where he is both ranged and close up? Because that kind of range sort of suits him, where he gets into the action, claws, 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 jumps back, shoots. You know,
Hmm.
that kind of when you think of Advent Children and the way he jumps around and claws and then flips and shoots and like that kind of captures that kind of gameplay, I think.
Yeah, and it could be a bit like Cloud, the way he goes between two different stances.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
could be like that idea that he's like going between two different fighting styles, I suppose. Um,
And I wonder his limit break. I feel like this is the difficult one with Vincent is do you think like most of them the limit break is just um an ability that they do.
hmm,
I think Vincent's will differ from the rest of the party in that his different limit breaks that you can unlock will I think that's what's going to turn him into the beast because that's what it was in the original.
yeah.
Um, but maybe it's like this time it's a limit break that you control for a period of time, or maybe it works like the summons where he turns into the beast. It does its own thing that you've triggered, which is what the summons do, and like in the original anyway, when you hit his limit breaks, you lose control of him, and he does his own thing,
Yes, because I remember you telling me a
right?
story about.
Ah, yeah. I turned him into yeah, one of his limit breaks playing the original 557, fighting Genova at one point, and the different versions of Genova have like the first time you fight her, not the first time, sorry, the time you fight her after Aerith's death, all of her abilities are water based.
Hmm.
So you can't. She does water damage to you, and if you do water damage to her, you'll heal her.
Yeah.
And there's another time you fight her in the Northern Cave where she was fire based, and he turned into his beast, which was all of his attacks were fire attacks, and I didn't realize it at the time until obviously. So anytime my other guys were hitting her, he was healing her, and I was like, Vincent, fucking stop! So then I was getting my guys to kill Vincent. Just because I was like, I need you to fucking stop. So I was spending my time killing Vincent then while she was also attacking us, and it was a disaster. But so yeah, I wonder will it work like the summon abilities where he turns into a beast. He's doing his own thing that you're not controlling, and it ends on a big cutscene of him doing the actual final, much like the summons do, but his
Hmm.
final attack, which is the limit break, and then he turns back to Vincent. Like,
I
might
think that'd
that
be.
be how they handle it?
I think that would make the most sense as it would correlate with the original in
Yeah,
how his limit breaks work, but then putting in that 3D map that makes it much more exciting rather than him kind of just standing there. He's like moving around and stuff, and he's
yeah.
while you're while then of course you get to move on to someone else and you get to build up their limit break then while Vincent is using his. Um,
But then, of course, they like to go that little bit further, right? Like they tend to go, "Oh, your dream is this, right? Like this is what you
mm,
want to do. So let's give you that a little bit." So I'm wondering will they go a step further and go, "No, actually, you control the beast." which would be wild because each limit break would need its own animations that you
Hmm.
can actively control. It'd be like Vincent is actually a doorway to four other characters with their own move sets and stuff. Like,
Yeah, with their
might
movesets and
they
abilities.
go that bit further and actually let you control him as a
I mean,
beast?
they might do considering with Rebirth, they went the distance of
Yeah.
having the fucking tiny Bronco.
Yeah, yeah, they did so much in only 3 years that it got to a point where it was like, really? Like, all this as well? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So they that is a possibility for sure. Is that
yeah.
you get to control Vincent's monsters.
Would you like that? Or, like, what would you
I just want to play as
prefer?
Vincent. I'm just like
Yeah.
I was a little bit like with Rebirth. I was a bit like, why are we not able to control this guy?
Yeah, I remember us saying when we did the whole spoiler cast series that when you get towards the end, it's like I think there is room for actually playing as these characters. I don't really,
Yes.
and I'm okay with not having enough time to fully level them up. That's what subsequent playthroughs are for, or even that's time where it's like, okay, you're about to go to the final dungeon, so do everything you want to do. Like that's where you can decide, right? Well, I'm going to take those characters that I haven't had for very long, take them around the world, and grind the shit out of them. Look for all the super hard fights and the super hard bosses, the secret
Mm.
stuff, and do all that stuff, you know. But I suppose they wanted something exciting for like when they start doing trailer when you first see that bit of gameplay trailer with Vincent in it and you go, oh fuck, you know, that it's like there's a lot of excitement about part three beyond just
I
the story.
You know what? I think there's it's Final Fantasy. The story should be the exciting part. I think there's enough in the third one that you can excite people with more so than just their playing as Sid and Vincent.
Man, the third game I think is gonna be fucking awesome.
It's gonna be jam packed.
There's so much big shit still to come,
Yeah.
especially in the story. Like in reality, in the original game, the rebirth section, well, there's lots of really great shit in there. It's not the strongest part of the actual narrative of the game
No.
because it's more about, and which is what Rebirth did well. It's more about just getting to know the characters and building the relationships of the characters. Part one is like the coolest setup ever, where it has a 3 act structure and it's only a tutorial.
Yeah.
Part three gets epic, 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 epic end worlding shit, like crazy stuff. The weapons, all like Midgar going to war in lockdown and stuff, and like it's gonna get fucking crazy. So Vincent, there's a lot we can speculate about and talk about,
Hmm.
excite ourselves about, especially like you can see like with his different abilities how they might do the gameplay and stuff. Cid, I'll be honest with you, I am more interested in Cid. Not as a character, but because I can already picture the stuff they'll do with Vincent.
I think he's gonna be
He's gonna be more surprising, I think.
I think he's gonna be a bit slow with his
Really?
attacks.
Well, can I tell you what
Not slow like he's I don't know, like it takes forever for him to swing the spear or anything like that. But I
No,
just
yeah.
don't think he's gonna be as fast as Cloud.
Can I tell you what I hope they do with him? I don't know what they'll do with the whole triangle thing, and maybe that is swapping between being more of a tank and a bit faster or something like that,
Hmm.
right? Kind of like Cloud, but Cloud is like swings, whereas he's gonna be more stabby, I think. Do you remember
Probably.
how satisfying using the spear in God of War Ragnarok was?
Yes.
I think they should do that with Sid. I think
Oh,
you
for
should be
sure. But
like, I think you should just be like, I fucking love using Sid. Where you didn't expect to, and then suddenly he's stabbing so fast, and he's like able to throw the spear and shit. Maybe even I don't know, but it's like you're like, oh shit, like they made Sid so fun to play as in ways that maybe I wasn't expecting.
yes, that's what they should do. I don't think they will do that, but that's what they
Okay,
should do. I think Triangle will actually be will be the really rapid jabbity jabs.
yeah,
But you're kind of almost, again, kind of like Clouds. When you press triangle and he goes into this weird swinging mode, but you can barely move.
yeah. It more activates an attack more than anything else, like, doesn't it?
Right, so Sid, yeah, Sid is like you press triangle, he goes into a mode. He's kind of more like this weird Spartan stance, and then he's just really rapidly jabbing his spear into the enemy.
Yeah.
But then with the other one, he's like swinging it, so it's a bit slower, but he's got further range and further like he can almost do like sweeping attacks with his normal attacks, maybe.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe they will. So you reckon they might make Sid more of almost like a crowd control kind of guy, where it's like,
Yeah, oh, especially because in the base game, his first like limit break was dynamite. So that's not
oh
going to be a
yeah,
limit break, but that'll probably be one of his abilities, kind of like the way they made Braver an ability rather than a limit break.
true, right?
So you'd have dynamite that then you could throw at the enemies and more crowd control.
Was jump one of his abilities as well,
I think so. Yeah,
where he like just jumps up and then comes down with the spear? I think that
that'll
because
be a limit break,
he's a dragoon class basically within the
pretty
obviously
much.
he's not lore wise, but his move set is that of a dragoon from classic Final Fantasies.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I'm really interested what they do with him. I also really hope with Sid. Um, see, I kind of like Vincent to me feels like a known quantity, where it's like, yeah, Matthew Mercer's playing him. His voice
Mm.
is amazing. We know he's gonna nail all the emotive parts and the angry parts and the edgy parts and the cool parts. His story, Vincent's story, has been elaborated further on in the compilation with like
Mm.
Dirge of Cerberus, and also he played a bigger role in Advent Children and stuff. Like we all know, Vincent's a badass. He's got the whole Lucrecia thing. You know, like those moments are going to hit and they're going to be awesome. Whereas they've actively changed Sid.
You're not happy about it.
I'm not happy about it. So I really hope they find some way of bringing Sid back to the Sid that I like. And I know he's problematic, but that's why I like him. Not that I like those qualities. I just feel like I don't know why I'm talking like Christopher Walken, but I think the Sid's journey in the original, he goes through a massive change and he becomes, you know, it's like you get a sense of he was once kind of a good person. He was a pilot, he was a soldier, he fought in the war. He had a belief and a love in something, and then he lost his dreams, and then he became cold and bitter, and he took it out on the people he actually cares about, and then, you know, he gets to space and he sees the world for what it is, and he falls back in love with looking after the earth rather than looking up to the stars all the time and wanting to get away from the earth and being self-destructive. And like I just think his arc is actually really good, and I hope that it only works though if he's that bitter, cold kind of
Mm.
oh fuck the world kind of person. It never did anything good for me anyway, and sit
Yeah,
down and drink your goddamn tea, you know.
I have a feeling they're not doing that, Chris.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like that at all in Rebirth.
No, no, no. And the fact that he's doing what he's doing because of
Something to do with Aerith's mother, right?
yeah.
What do you think
So
that is? What do you think they're gonna? They've obviously written a new thing for him.
he's Aerith's dad.
No, really? No, that can't be it. Professor Gast is Aerith's dad.
Yeah, and Sid is like not old
They
enough.
had an affair. maybe, maybe Sid helped smuggle them out or something
Most likely. He most
at
likely
one point,
smuggled
or
yeah, but then it just he doesn't have the bitterness. He is
no.
more like let's protect the planet already. Um
Yeah, yeah. So we'll have to see. I don't know if it was a thing of he doesn't actually smoke in Rebirth either, does he?
not that I noticed.
They send up white smoke rather than him smoking. Seems to be the thing. I don't know if it's a thing of like they want him to be a hero and they don't want to paint their hero as like a bad guy. You know, he smokes, which is obviously very bad for your health, and he's sort of verbally abusive to women and that. But
Right, which is problematic and get you in a lot of trouble. Yeah, yeah.
100%. But like
But
that was the whole idea though. Like even the party at first were like, I don't really like this guy.
yeah, but
There could have been great writing and great tension with him had he not been so. I'm here to help you. You know, we'll have to see.
yeah, he they can still slightly change him depending on how the story goes. He might get a little bit more bitter
Eric's dead.
now that Eric's dead. He
Yeah.
might start to get a bit bitter. Um, especially if So they might make him bitter in a different way, in that he's against Cloud, considering Cloud seems to be so okay after all that.
Mm,
And Cid might be a bit like, because that's where we might end up finding out that he smuggled them out. So he has
yeah.
feeling the care for her. And this guy, who everyone looks to as a leader, is like okay with one of them being dead.
I do think that before things pick up again, especially before Cloud kind of fixes himself, we're going to get a lot more tension in the party.
Mm,
The tension that started in Rebirth, that was like, especially in the latter half of it, with Cloud, which was some of the best shit in Rebirth, I thought.
mm.
Um, that's definitely going to continue, I think, because he is not on a good trajectory.
No.
I think he thinks he is, but yeah. And actually, and we might as well, you mentioned Aerith, we might as well talk about what we think Aerith's role in part three is going to be. And like we said, guys, spoilers for everything, but um, like, do you think we'll see much of Aerith, or do you think, like, what do you think? Like, do you think they'll actually do it too much? They'll almost do like what they did with Sephiroth in Remake, where she's around all the time and he keeps seeing her and that kind of thing, or
I'd actually, I think the best way to do her is almost like Joker from Arkham Knight, but like positive version.
right? But maybe in a way it's not positive. It feels a bit fucked up every time. Like, yeah, she's being super nice and all, but you as the player are like, oh, this is so wrong. Like
Mm,
she's not here. She's gone, man. You need to accept that she's dead. And he's like, no, she's fine. You know, she's just talking to me from the other
other side.
place. And
But like, so it's not so as you go around the plains, you might find Aerith standing on the hill and you can go up towards her and
yeah, cool. That would be
she might say
really
something.
interesting, especially if some of it was like choice and you could miss it if you don't.
Mm.
And even like, especially places where there's flowers, like if there's flower beds and stuff, you can kind of go and converse with her. But only Cloud, like no one else
Oh yeah, if let's say
sees
you were
her.
running around as Tifa or something, like yeah, you wouldn't see her like
Yeah,
that'd
yeah.
be an interesting
She,
kind of
do you think Aerith will be in any way playable in part three?
yeah, probably.
Yeah. I assume though, or I hope, I really don't want them to overdo it. The final fight. I assume she's coming back in the final fight.
Her and Zack, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Zack, I
Mm.
think, will be more playable than he was
Hopefully, because I'm not gonna
in
lie,
Rebirth.
Rebirth was a bit like I was playing. Spoiler alert, guys! But when I was finished Rebirth, I
Mm,
one part of me was like, why the fuck are they actually changing anything? It just felt so unnecessary. So
mm.
I'm hoping with this one they do enough that is satisfactory in in a way that's just like, this is why you change things.
But I think, and I could be wrong, I think the only reason they changed things, though, was to keep people on their toes and to kind of have that, I don't know what's going to happen thing. But actually, they've been quite outright in the interviews that they were like, no, it is the same story and it's going to end exactly it's going to end how the original ends. And
Then what was the point? Like,
because even though they were said that, the amount of conversation that it started and the amount of, will it, won't it, and being on the edge of your seat and going, oh, is he gonna, oh, like, I think the execution at the ending of Rebirth is not good. But
no.
and that was my issue with it. But I think the idea of playing through Rebirth and wondering the whole time, is Aerith going to die or not?
Oh yeah,
Is
no,
it is like good?
I don't. Yeah, no, that was good. My
Yeah,
point is when you get to the end
yeah.
and you're like, okay, it ended the exact same, well, only slightly differently. But yeah, I
Mhm.
suppose it's the way they handle it with the weird multiverse thing.
Yeah, I just
Um,
think they take the power out of the moment that it's
mm,
kind of that the whole game is building up to, and as a result, it made what was an incredible journey feel anticlimactic at the end of it, where it was like, you've kind of taken the wind out of the sails a little bit, and even like you've missed out on the burial, like, and that's such an
yeah.
iconic scene that would like I should be watching that and crying.
Hmm.
And you should make me feel it all over again. And making me feel a bit like, why did I ever think I could save her? I'm such an idiot. Like you made me think I could, and then I didn't. And now look at I think that well, I don't know. A part of me thinks the burial is how part three starts. Either that or when when Cloud is stuff is revealed to him, he will finally remember the burial.
Maybe, yeah.
Like I think he doesn't realize that he's done that at this moment. Like when they're all staring out at the water, and he's like, "Yep, let's go." And Tifa's like, "What the fuck?" Like I don't think Cloud realizes that he just buried Aerith in the pond.
Well, it's kind of because he keeps seeing her, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
That takes it away.
he's like, "She's okay, she's fine."
Yeah.
Like he's in denial.
So that's really going to play on him, which will most likely lead us to the moment when, because he has black materia.
He does. He
It's
stuck it in his
imbued.
sword, and it looked fucking
It's,
awesome.
yeah, which is going to lead to the point, which I'm assuming they're going to keep this in because they've kept a lot of the points in.
Yeah, yeah,
So
sure.
I'm going to assume that point from the original game when he's underground and they see the weird cocoon thing with Sephiroth, and Cloud is going to float up and give him black materia. I'm assuming that's going to happen.
Oh
That's what
God,
we're
yeah.
building up to. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah. Of course, of course. I did see a really cool theory that someone had where, because one of his later game limit breaks is called Meteor Rain, where he jumps up in the air and he uses the sword and it sends meteors down on the
Mm,
enemies. And people were like, "Oh, what if while the black materia is in his sword, that's his limit break?" And I was like,
that's
that would be
genius. That's
absolutely
genius.
incredible. The only thing is then when you get rid of it, do you lose that limit break, or do you just gamify and go, ah no, fuck it, you have that ability. You unlocked it when you had the black materia, and he still has it, but it would be sick.
Yeah, no, fuck it. You lose it. It gets replaced with a different one.
Well, that would also be cool because sometimes when they do that, like in-game lore stuff is some of the coolest. Like it's like the whole, in the final fight in Rebirth with Genova, and everyone has their limit break except Cloud.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's such a cool detail when you stop and realize that. And you don't notice it the first time. If you play it the second time and notice it and go, oh my God, like everyone has been pushed to their limit literally because they saw Aerith die.
Hmm.
But Cloud is in denial. So he has not been pushed to his limit. It's a very, very cool gameplay detail that's in there.
Yeah.
Speaking of Genova, though, one of the theories I've seen floating around, and we were just talking about Aerith, is that Cloud will see Aerith a lot in the game, but it will in fact not be Aerith, and it will be Genova manipulating Cloud throughout the game.
Because of the fact that she could take on forms of those that you love.
And the Sephiroth kept bringing that up, and that the whole thing kept you pointing at Tifa the whole time, and maybe that was just a red herring, and that in fact, Aerith will be used to puppeteer Cloud in
No,
the next game.
that was just Sephiroth was wingman and Cloud, so that Cloud would be all like, "Hey, flash me."
Flash me, bruh.
That's
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's all that was.
That's
Like
all it was. That's
Sephiroth's
all it
just
was.
he's just a wingman, like that's all he
Yeah, he's
is.
just looking after his boy.
Yeah, yeah,
Cloud, my boy, got you covered, man. I'm giving you the riz. I'm giving you the riz.
yeah.
Um,
Skibbity Mazamoon.
Skibbity Mazamoon, man. Skibbity rot. But yeah, I don't know what what do you think about that theory?
That is very cool. And that would work in with, yeah, I suppose what I was saying. You just kind of see Aerith around the place. That would make sense. That would be
It would be
cleaner.
cool if an Aerith that you see and interact with throughout the game is in fact Genova
Hmm.
fucking with Cloud. But then later in the game, you will actually communicate with the real Aerith, who is in the live stream.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, but there will be a very clear distinction of that wasn't her, this is her. I think
Yes.
that would be cool. Um, yeah. Any other things on Aerith and her role in part three or
Uh, would you say she'll probably have more of a role in Zack's story as well, if you get to play more of Zack.
oh possibly yeah. She was yeah, it's hard to work. I suppose it's hard to fully piece together like she was like unconscious in Zack's time thing that he was in his little world,
His universe, yeah.
and then we're not really like, and then Cloud and her woke up in one on their own,
Hmm.
Remember, and she like pushed him, and Sephiroth was walking behind her like the fucking Terminator. It was awesome.
Yeah,
So it's hard to know. Did he kill her there though? Like, has he traveled through the different realities and killed Aerith?
that's his plan. Yeah.
Right, so that he can't be stopped in any reality. That's what
Hmm.
it seems to be. He's like, and I wish they highlighted that a bit more in part two. If it became clear by the end of it, they're like, oh fuck, Sephiroth is hunting Aerith in every timeline
Hmm.
and killing her. That would just make it like, oh, this is fucking. I see now why you introduced this multiverse shit. It's like, oh, Sephiroth is creating a way in which he can't be beaten, and he has now ended Aerith across all timelines. Like, and they'd be like, oh, fuck, they can't win. But it's not so clear, so it's really hard to know. Like, is
Yeah,
there an
they just
Aerith even alive in Zack's timeline right now? We don't know.
well, it depends on which Zack timeline are we going for. Are we going for the one
Right, because
where
there's the
he
different doggy timeline things.
yeah. So it's like
So
this is where I don't mind Elseworld stories.
I'm the same as you, yeah.
Because you know what I'm going to say now, aren't you? Right?
Yeah.
I don't mind it when you're either just dealing with a what if story
Yeah. Which is always really
or
cool.
you only have two.
Yeah.
The moment you have
Where there's a genuine cause and effect
right, but
across both, yeah.
the moment you have the whole you ate a sandwich this morning, but in another reality you didn't, and in another reality you didn't even get up, and in another once you have that area, it's like, well then no, I'm almost like Owlman from Crisis on Infinite Earths, where
Where
it's like,
nothing
okay,
matters.
yeah, nothing matters now. You
Yeah.
know, no decision I then make matters because I know in another reality I didn't make that decision, or in another reality I never even went down the path to start that decision, and in another reality I'm not even there, and so on and so forth. So that's where as well I think Aerith's death didn't work for me
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, but she is alive because she died, but in another reality she didn't.
Yeah.
And in another reality, she wasn't there. And another reality, Sephiroth wasn't even born.
But I
And
do I do wonder, and I could be wrong. Well, I suppose, yeah, Sephiroth does a whole speech on how many worlds there are within. I got the sense initially that this whole different worlds thing only started in Remake, where their actions actually led to the creation of a new world where Zack was alive, and therefore things that he was doing were everything he was doing was defying destiny because he shouldn't be alive at all. And as and it was just an anomaly that was spreading then. And I got the sense that that's where this all came from. But when Sephiroth kind of says to Cloud in Rebirth, and they're going through, and he's like the true nature of reality, it looks like there is
there's loads. Yeah.
countless worlds. So yeah, it's kind of hard to know. Then it's like, so like, what's the value of any of this? And I don't think that was um the architect scene actually, where the true nature of reality has actually been explained. I still think there's more to come in part three. I
Oh
I
yeah,
I think
yeah.
we've only seen a glimpse of what the sort of actual twist, so to speak, of the remake trilogy is.
Well, I think this is leading up, to be honest, I think this is leading up to Advent Children.
Well, sort of said, yeah, but it's kind of hard to know then how those pieces will come together.
Well,
And the reunion of worlds, is it like at one point there was one world, it then split into multiple worlds for whatever reason, and is it all going to reunite back to one world where everything will matter again?
possibly, but what I mean more so is that at the end of the original, they die. They stop the meteor, but they die. But I'm saying in this one,
Do they though?
well, we don't know, but it doesn't exactly seem like they live.
Yeah,
But what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying in this one is it's definitive. They stop Meteor, but they live,
Okay,
thus leading to
Advent Children. So yeah,
Advent
you
Children.
feel like it'll have a more definitive
Hmm.
ending rather than that kind of cliffhanger of the original where the screen goes white And then the music plays, the credits roll, and
What?
you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then it goes hundreds of years later, Red 13 is alive.
Hmm.
And it's like,
That is true. Red
so,
13
yeah. So you're
was.
like, wait a minute. Is it that he was spared? Or did the whole party live? And then where's everyone else gone? And oh, look, the nature has taken the world back. And
Hmm.
like it is, the original ending does leave you with questions on purpose. But ultimately says the planet survived the incident. They did stop the meteor, but at what cost? We don't know.
Yeah, so I'm thinking with that one, it could be a little bit more. They died. Red 13 lived. He survived, but everyone else died. Um, that allowed the planet to heal. But this one could be that it ends in such a way where you do definitively know, oh, okay, Advent Children is going to happen.
Yeah, right.
That makes sense. So what I mean is, like with the original, Advent Children wasn't going to happen. But now that things have been changed,
The Advent Children will be a sequel to these games and not a sequel to
yes.
the original game.
So these games are a
Right.
sequel to the original, and Advent is a sequel to these ones.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
Ever Crisis is happening at the same time because that's the multiple worlds.
Do you think at some point we're going to see the PS1 graphics in part 3?
Fuck yeah, bring it on. I hope the whole game is PS1 graphics.
I think in Cloud. I know, but I think in Cloud's Mind Palace.
Oh,
I think it
shit.
will like stutter, get fucked up, and turn into PS1 graphics at least at one point. Like I think they'll do basically a Shadow Moses on it. You know where like was it MGS4 where Snake has the
Yeah,
dream
yeah.
and you actually play a bit of the PS1 graphics?
On Shadow Moses, yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll do that at some point in with
With the
Cloud's fractured mind. Like,
Will they do the polygon music?
yeah, yeah, I think they will. I think that'll be so cool. Like,
That'd
and
be
make
class. Yeah.
it would make you one, it would make you nostalgic and be like, ah, fuck yeah, that's so cool. But two, then it would also make you go, what the fuck is going on? Like, drastically in that moment. Um, Obviously a massive feature of part 3, and I have talked about it in interviews and stuff, but not in any great detail, is going to be the airship.
Right.
So, any hopes or theories on how this thing
Uh,
is even going to fucking work? I don't know. Like, do you envision just like a Mass Effect style? You run around in it, you can talk to people, and then you go to like a map and you pick where you want to go, or do you think it's going to work almost like the original, but to scale this time, where you actually fly the ship and you land the ship and
all right. So the easier option is
yeah,
what is the first one,
yeah,
right? That's the
of course, yeah, of
easier
course,
option.
yeah, and you can envision that because you've seen games do it,
Yes.
even like the Fallen Order Jedi games,
Do it.
do that,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, 10, Final Fantasy 10 with that ship, they did that.
Yeah, roam around the ship, pick
Mm,
where you want to land. You'll land it there.
10 2 did the same. I have a feeling you're gonna get to fly it though.
Well, yeah, like part of me thinks you're right because they
I
let you
I
drive the buggy, they let you drive the Bronco, like they didn't they let you do
you
the riding the
ride all the
chocobos.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
all
but
the
how the
games in Golden
fuck are they
Saucer.
gonna do this? Like,
Okay, so you get to run around and talk to people as you do. Oh,
yeah,
it's massive, isn't it? That's a massive airship.
it's pretty big. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's bigger than the Normandy though, but it's gonna be so
Uh,
fun. Like, just walking around talking to people and having optional conversations, having the crew as you kind of theorized from Rebirth be your crew, the guys who are from the parade.
oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
really hope
That'd
what
be
were they called, the Seventh Legion or something like
something like that. Yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah. I hope
I
so.
and then like
Because you do side quests with them, don't you? In
yeah,
Rebirth, you build up repertoire with them. That's what
you
made me
do,
kind of think,
yeah.
oh, are they going to join you? Because you're building up repertoire with them. I was like, why are you doing that? And Johnny might end up. You're gonna have Johnny. You're gonna have Chadley. You're gonna have
Chaddy will definitely be on the High Wind,
yeah.
and you can
You
go
might
up to
have
him, and like you can literally go do the intel in the world, go back to the High Wind, find like he doesn't even need to show up now in different towns. He could just stay on the High Wind, and
yeah.
anytime you want to like upgrade your material or whatever, you just go to him. And there can be a VR missions room on the High Wind as well. Like that's this kind of
Like the
stuff
one
they
in the
can
Shinra Tower. But
100%, yeah.
like they had sites across the map for the High Wind to land.
Yes, they definitely designed open areas. Uh, 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 there's no way
Landing, like they had
like when they
landing
were making
strips.
this game, like there's no way they weren't like we need to keep part three in mind as we do this. Like
Hmm.
as we're designing these areas and stuff, we need to bear in mind that there will be a high wind airship like that. It's a
I
huge part of the latter part of the game. Like it's
you're
how you
gonna
get
get to
everywhere.
you're gonna get to fly it, and you get to fly to those, but you can only land at those spots.
Okay. Yeah, I think the conditions for landing will be. Oh, what about this though?
You get to parachute
Can
out.
you parachute in
No,
anywhere?
no.
No,
That's crazy talk. Only for the end can you parachute in
into Midgar.
into Midgar.
I'm really curious how they're going to pull off like some of the fights with the weapons. There's one of them, and you kind of just you go with it with the original. Like there's one of them where you fight it and you're on the high wind,
Hmm.
right? But it's turn based, everything's static. You go and attack it, it stays floating there. In these games though, like everything is static and moving. Like, are you going to be on the high wind and it's flying and attacking the high wind itself? And like, how the fuck
Yeah,
are they going to do that? Like, that's going
you're
to be such
gonna
a cinematic fight. Like,
you're gonna do a new hope on this, and you're gonna get into cannons, and you're gonna like bah, 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 and
that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
you're shooting at it, and it's gonna be flying around. It's probably what they're gonna do. That, or you can only play as the three, like Yuffie, Vincent, and Barrett, maybe.
Oh,
You
sure.
gotta.
Like, you need ranged attacks. Man, I don't know how they're going to do the weapons.
I'm more confused.
They're
That was not even the
insane.
one that
Like,
was confused me. The one that confused me was the ones in my head was the underwater one. Emerald weapon?
right. You're right. Okay, well, hold on for a second, right? So you reckon
Actually, are
here's
they
another one. Are you
right?
like so you reckon right, you will fly the high wind. So I think you're right that you'll be able to move around in the high wind.
Mm,
Then you can go to the pilot and then you can take control of the high wind.
right,
But
yeah.
obviously it will have to zoom out a little bit and make the high wind a bit smaller and the world map a bit smaller for you flying around, right?
Mm.
Like just to be able to scale it. Kind of like
No,
civil
it's gonna be in first person.
I reckon it'll go like civilization mode, you know what I mean? Where
Right,
you
yeah, yeah,
shrink down and basically you see a world map, but like
yeah.
a modern rendition of world map. Um will you control the submarine?
Yeah. You should control it in the first one, yeah. You should
Crazy,
control it in the
man. This is
original.
gonna be fucking insane. So you'll be able to travel the whole world by air. You'll be able to travel the entire ocean by submarine.
Mm.
Are we going to space?
Yes.
I can't
No,
wait.
no, no, no. Hold on.
Not optionally
You
though.
don't, yeah.
Just
What?
in a not optionally though, right? Just in a story
Oh,
moment.
story mode, you have to go up to space, right? You
You have
have
to.
to.
If
It's
they don't
very,
do that, you have to go to space. It's an
you have to go to
important
space.
moment.
So, yeah, it's the meteors come from space. Sid wants to go to space. You have to go to Rocket Town, and you have to go to space.
Palmer has to get hit by a van.
He has to get hit by a van. Um,
That's how he dies.
are the weapons optional? Obviously, one of them was not optional. You had to defeat it,
Yeah.
which was Diamond Weapon, I do believe.
Yes. It's hard to know because what you could do is, and like Final Fantasy games tend to have super bosses, which is what the weapons became. Became
Hmm.
the optional super bosses to get the best weapons. It's hard to know, like, will this game go, nah, fuck it? Because they've what they've done in the first two parts is they've taken a lot of the optional stuff and trying to bring it into the main story, but added new optional stuff. So
Hmm.
the question is, do they make the weapons? No, you have to fight the weapons, but we have new shit to be the super bosses? Or do they go, nah, okay, the weapons need to be the super bosses. However, maybe there's one or two new extra ones. Like, might they put Omega Weapon from Dirge of Cerberus in this game?
Ooh, we might do.
I think they will, because I think they're not necessarily, like, they've already started introducing, like, Dirge of Cerberus elements.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be like but we have to save them for, like, I think you could kill fucking Nero. It doesn't fucking matter if Dirge of Cerberus never happens. Like,
Oh yeah, for
you
sure.
know what I mean? Like, that's not that important. So I think Omega Weapon would be a good optional secret super boss, not a in-story thing
That's how you get knights.
that you seek out. Well, you see, Do you not think Knights of the Round has to be done exactly how it was done in the original? You need to
Yeah,
breed a
yeah,
golden
yes.
chocobo, run across the water, get to the cave.
I don't know. Well, they won't be as awkward.
Or will they make getting Knights of the Round part of the story and it's not optional? You need to get them to defeat the weapons.
That would
It'd be
be
a cool
really cool.
quest, like,
That would be
wouldn't
a
it?
very cool quest, and you have to fight each of the knights
What is wrong with you?
to
They
prove it.
kick your ass. Actually, you probably will have to. Yeah, how the fuck are they going to do that? Because with the other ones, you have had to fight the summons. I really hope. What I don't want is I don't want getting Knights of the Round to be you get into a Chadley simulation to fight them.
No, that
I
would
want
suck.
getting Knights of the Round needs to be a entering a cave and finding it on an altar type thing. And yes, there can be trials and tribulations to get there, but and yes, they can fight you there if you want, if that's how they're going to do it. But not in a Chadley going, I think I've created a new materia. It's the Knights of the Round. No. No,
Yeah,
Chadley
because
can't.
they were the fucking main.
They're the super summon, like you can't.
Yeah, I think they've only ever been in one other game, and even at that, that wasn't
Yeah, they
like.
played a role in 15, right?
Yeah, they were the kings of old.
Kings of Old, yeah. That was cool though.
It was very good.
So, yes, we think we're gonna actually fly the high wind. We think we're gonna actually pilot the submarine, and we are gonna go to space.
Yeah, because you have to get in the cannon then on the submarine to fight Emerald Weapon
Yeah, that'd be sick.
as you're trying to escape
There's
it.
also you were able
So,
to explore
sorry.
like the depths of the ocean in the original to like
Oh yeah,
find
that's where you go
a
to
bunch of stuff and
Lucrecia's
all.
cave, and
That's
that's where
right.
you get Vincent's ultimate weapon. So you have to go into the submarine
Yeah.
to go to the Shinra facility, I think it was.
Well, you get the submarine from the Junon underwater reactor, I think.
Right. To escape it.
Yes.
What they might do it differently here. Whereas what I'm thinking, all right, you get the submarine, you have to go down to a facility, which is an underwater reactor that sank, that turned into a facility for Hojo's weird experiments. And in there, in stasis, is Lucrecia.
Instead of having her in a cave.
Yeah, in a random fucking cave somewhere.
That
That's
could
where
be
she
kind of
is.
cool. That would be kind of cool. Especially, I think it would actually be more fucked up if Hojo has been keeping her rather than she just put herself into hibernation,
Hmm.
into crystallized stasis. I'd be there's like see there's changes like that where you're like I'm actually okay with that.
It's the
I
same
don't mind.
premise that she is in
Yeah, but it's now
Trial,
it's
but
like oh shit I wasn't expecting it there so now you've caught
hmm.
me off guard like that's the kind of stuff where it's like you're just playing with expectations but ultimately the same shit is happening. Vincent
Yeah.
still finds her and is affected by her and all
Yeah,
that
because
stuff.
that's optional as well. Like he's optional to get, and then that's an optional moment.
Whereas now it needs to be part of the story.
Yeah, because it's super important. I think it's there when it is explained that Lucrezia
Hmm.
is Sephiroth's mother. Like it's like, oh, that's big.
That feels like that should be in the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, the other thing that's optional from the original is the entirety of Wutai.
Yeah, I have to go to Wutai.
Well, in this game, Wutai is clearly going to play a huge role because they've been really building up the whole war with Wutai thing.
Yeah, and Sephiroth's playing the sides, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Anything you hope from Wutai or
A big battle.
like a Shinra invasion of Wutai,
Oh yeah.
all out war
Oh
kind
yeah.
of shit? Make the stakes really high for Yuffie.
Yeah, and summons fucking Leviathan to kick some ass.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Um, do you want Yuffie to steal the party's materia?
No, I think at this point there's no point.
Yeah, she does it at Wutai though, and she like locks them in a cage, right?
Yeah,
But it
but
feels like she's very much in the party now. I feel like if they were going to do it, Rebirth was the time to do it.
yes, because at this point now it just feels very like, yeah,
Why?
like
Why would you?
why wait so long? Why would you? It's just there's so much other shit that's at stake here.
Yeah,
Uh, the war between Wutai and Shinra. Sephiroth is up to some sort of chaos. maybe he doesn't even want to summon Meteor. Um,
Oh, that's interesting.
but there is Sephiroth, there's Genova, the weapons have to come, Cloud has to have his amnesia, Tifa has to go in there, you have to go up to space. There's so much that I
There's actually a
think
lot of ground to cover still.
Don Corneo has to be defeated, the Turks have to be defeated, you have to parachute in the Midgar. Like, there's so much that's like, Yuffie trapping them and stealing the
This
materia
is
just
why I'm
feels.
surprised that I'm not surprised they skipped Wutai the first time around. It's nice that there's gonna be a another continent we haven't seen yet because
Mm,
Wutai is in it. It's a smaller continent, but it is a continent in itself.
mm.
And there's definitely more expansion they can do to Wutai. In the original, it's a landmass with one town. I think there could be little, kind of like outside of Cam, the way there was little outposts and stuff
Right,
in
yeah, yeah.
Rebirth. I think you could have there's the main city of Wutai basically, which could be definitely bigger and more expanded than it was in the original. But then there can be little outposts and towns along the way.
Well, there is that weird mountain shrine thing, statue shrine. I think is that where you get
Yep.
Leviathan?
Yes, you have to do like these trials and stuff through fire and stuff, and then
Yeah, you
the
get
only thing
Leviathan.
is we've already
Yes.
gotten Leviathan, but
Yeah, because Chadley developed a new materia.
well done, Chadley. Um, you could simulate the power of the gods
Yeah, somehow. Well
in
done.
in your Boy Scout bag. But yeah, I really do hope they expand Wutai as a location because obviously it's going to be like one of the only new locations we get to see now, um, as well as obviously the northern continent with like the Icicle Inn and that whole
Snowboarding.
shenanigans, snowboarding, getting lost in the snow, climbing the
It's wait,
mountain,
wait.
all that stuff
We
still to
haven't
come.
been we haven't been to I'm just looking at the map there. Medeal.
No, that's true. You still have to go to the island of Medeal as well, so that's another new location.
Yeah. So yeah, there's still
That's
actually
gonna
a
get
good
fucking wrecked as well by that's where um Cloud in his wheelchair gets like falls down into the earth and
mm,
yeah.
into the live stream. Is that where which weapon is it that attacks there again?
I think it's ultimate.
Ultimate weapon. Yeah, you have to defeat that to get
You
Cloud's
f-
ultimate weapon.
you do. So in that instance, I think you do fight it, but only basically it's a just survive until it leaves.
Yeah, yeah.
You just have to survive that fight. You can't beat it there. That's the one you
When
fight on the highway, I think.
I think when I was playing the original, I don't think I bet any of those weapons. Other than the one you have to.
Other than Diamond, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I think Emerald gives you another ultimate as well, and I just couldn't beat. I
Yeah.
just could not beat Emerald. Um, and then yeah, it's not necessarily you have to beat the ultimates to get everyone ultimate weapon. Because there's different things. Like I think Yuffie's is in Wutai somewhere,
Hmm.
and Vincent's is obviously by Lucrecia. I think I got some of them. I didn't get all of them though.
Yeah,
You obviously have to get Aerith before she dies.
you do. There's a lot of um we've been talking about a lot of the optional content. I'm wondering, is there any other like optional content that you hope they not only expand on, which they probably will, but maybe like is there other optional content you hope they continue from Rebirth or expand on or new stuff that they add to it?
Well, so far, the Dirge Cerberus guides have played little to no role in the game.
Okay, you'd
So
like
as
Deep
far as
Ground more involved?
well, yeah. Otherwise, what was the point in including them?
Yeah. Okay.
Your one from Crisis Core, she has to play a role.
Cisne.
Cisne, she has to play a role in it.
Yeah.
Um, I'd be interested to see if Sephiroth is going to take on the guise of Glenn. God, Glenn. Out of every fucking name they could have chosen
Yeah,
ever,
yeah. Glenn.
Glenn. It's as bad as Jack. It's not wrong the names, but just in the context of Final Fantasy and all the fancy names that they've used in Final Fantasy over the years, Jack and
Just
Glenn
slightly underwhelming, yeah.
is very underwhelming. But I wonder if Sephiroth is going to have his Glenn guys on more.
Yeah, possibly. Um, I would like to see less mini games than Rebirth had.
There's one particular one I can do without.
but I would like new minigames. So I don't want just so I want less than there was in Rebirth, but I also don't want just the ones in Rebirth again. I want like new minigames. Obviously the snowboarding would be one. That's a new one.
No warning. Yeah.
But I would hope that there is some other
Well, the
new
shooting, like,
optional activities, you know?
yeah. Queen's Blood, they can get rid of that. That's not
They're
necessary.
not gonna. Queen's Blood
They,
was so popular. The only thing is
I
I don't
don't know
know.
why.
I liked Queen's Blood, and I think most people who played it loved Queen's Blood. So
Crazy.
there's no way there's no way they're not continuing Queen's Blood, but the question is, unless they're gonna have a whole because like they introduced the Fort Minor minigame, Fort Minor, M. Shinoda, Stars of
Stars
Beyond.
Beyond.
Sorry, the Fort Condor minigame, they introduced an intermission. And we were all kind of hoping that that would be the thing around the world. And then they made it more, they brought Queen's Blood in, right?
Okay.
So it's possible they might come up with another new minigame that becomes the game across the world this time around. But I think Queen's Blood was a little too popular that I'd be surprised if there's no new version of Queen's Blood.
Gwent.
I could see them adding new rules to Queen's Blood. Like a modified version of Queen's Blood. Like
Where it
Queen's Blood
works.
Queen's Blood Second Edition or something like
Yeah,
that maybe.
where it works properly.
It worked fine.
Yeah, it works better. It actually works. It's actually enjoyable.
But yeah, that's what I want. Less mini games, but new ones.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, if you do get to shoot an ultimate weapon and emerald weapon, they're kind of mini games in itself.
Oh yeah.
Do you
Which
ever
was
have to get on the dolphin again? Actually, I can't remember.
no, but I wouldn't be surprised if like because you're obviously going to revisit the whole world. So,
Hmm.
and I hope they continue doing because like when people give out about that there's too much side quest in or side content in Rebirth, which I agree with. I
Hmm.
don't necessarily think it's the side quests though. I think it's more like things like doing towers and um fucking and the mini games and just the
Oh, there's
sheer
so many mini
amount of
games.
them, you
Yeah.
know. Like fair play to them for fitting so much in, but at the same time, it wasn't necessary to go that hard, really.
Yeah.
I think I still would like to see side quests
Yeah, but they
in
can make
part three.
because I remember the side quests usually had like 4 or 5 parts to each one of them.
Yeah,
Do make a tree, make a tree. Cut
yeah.
it
I mean,
down.
some of them could definitely be streamlined.
Yeah, because
If it's directly related to a key character, though, I'm okay with them being a little bit more expansive. Um, but when it is just like you're doing a favor for a guy in a farm, like that can be you could streamline that. Like,
yeah, like oh, I lost my chocobo. You just get the one chocobo and you just bring it back. No, there's like chocobo runs off and then chocobo runs off and then other stuff happens and you're just like halfway across the world by the time you get the chocobo and you're like, I actually have more important things to do.
yeah.
Like Diamond Weapon is walking right there. I think that's more important. Rounding up these chocobos for half an hour.
But
So,
I could see the dolphin playing a role in a optional like side mission
mm,
or side quest thing. Like I could see when you go back to different parts of the world, I could see optional side quests being across the world, especially when Meteor is imminent and you reach that point where the sky is red and Judgment Day is coming. I could see a lot of like, oh, folks need help, and there's a lot of like shit
well,
going
yeah,
on
but
in the world.
hopefully it's
Like that'd be cool.
not like Final Fantasy 16 though.
Oh, where when the world is ending, they then give you like, and here's 50 side quests suddenly
Yeah,
to
and
do.
you're just like, the what? I thought we only had like 5 seconds to do it, like till the world ends. Why am I doing all this stuff? So hopefully, as long as it's not like that. Uh, but speaking of being at Junon, because that's where the dolphin is, are you going to get into a proper fight, or is it still going to be a bit slap contest with Scarlett?
I think they will evolve and expand on this sort of the slap fight from the original. So rather than it being a slap mini game, I almost wouldn't.
Would it be another new mini game, Chris?
I think they're either going to do one of these two things. Because I feel like now they would feel that if they did it, it's actually a bit disrespectful to Tifa's character.
Oh yeah, for sure. It
That
was
she,
already.
yeah, it's like it was really cheesy and really
Yeah.
funny in the original, but it is a bit like, oh, Tifa, this badass who punches everyone, just like reduced to a little slap bitch fight with the other female villain.
Mm.
Like, um, I think in this time around they need to do either it's a full on boss fight, Tifa versus Scarlett, or what would be really fun is while they're on the cannon, the camera panning around, two life bars coming up. And for just this one moment alone, it basically turns into a fighting game.
Just because you want Tifa in a fighting game.
No, but like, are you
Square Enix is
saying
like, all right, you're not doing it. We'll do it ourselves.
we'll do it ourselves? Are you saying that you would not be like, that's fucking amazing? Like
Oh
literally,
no, that
the camera panned, it went across the two of them, and then the life bars came up. And
that
even if they went the extra mile and it went fight,
that would be probably the best
mini
mini
game.
game that they've introduced.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy because if you look at like some of the mini games in Rebirth were basically their take on other games. Like if you look at the Chocobo Racing was basically Mario Kart.
Yes, and they already did like a version of the fighting with the polygon people.
Yes.
Not as
So
good, but it's that version. Like, yeah,
so they could do one, whereas this time it wouldn't be polygon graphics. It would be the as they are like. But I do think you have to
you get
reference the moment. The only other boring thing they could do is that they do a cutscene where Scarlet slaps Tifa and Tifa decks Scarlet back.
be that'd be
Just knocks
satisfying.
her out in one punch. It
Be
would be
sat
satisfying, but not as satisfying, I think, as actually playing
Yeah,
a
that
fight.
or you're probably just gonna get to play as everyone. She's gonna be in her giant robot again, and you'd fight that robot.
That would be boring. That would bore me, I think. I'd be like,
Oh,
yeah, okay, if maybe the music's cool fight and all, but of all the things they could have done to make this moment stand out as like that's
mm,
hilarious if you know the original.
yeah, yeah, that
Just
would be.
substituting it with just a straight up normal boss fight in her in an armor thing, given that you're going to fight her in an armor thing later anyway, I think
Mm.
would be just a waste of a boss fight where it's like,
And
ah,
also, you've already fought her twice in that thing. It's kind of the problem with Sephiroth. It's like we've fought and
yeah.
beaten Sephiroth twice now. It's like I'm not really that afraid of him anymore.
I don't know what they're going to do with
Well, he's going to take on his angel
obviously,
form.
yeah, obviously he takes on that form and you fight that, right? But what I mean is, they've kind of done One Winged Angel to death at this point, right? But they
Mm.
need what I want for this game, because you can't not do it as the final fight. Like what do you? So you can't make a new tune and be like, so wait, what? They used One Winged Angel for just the regular fights, and then when it's the final ever fight with Sephiroth, it's some other piece of music? No, like unfortunately they've done it to death and they have to do it again.
Mm.
I want to hear. And I believe in these composers. I think they could do it. I want to hear the best rendition of One Winged Angel we've ever heard. I don't know what form that takes. I want to hear a rendition that actually blows our minds. That makes you go, wow, that is now the new definitive version of One Winged Angel. That's what I want.
Yeah, could mix it maybe with like maybe if they mix it with those chosen by the planet or something, or they
Yeah.
mix it with the Genova theme, or they mix it with something that makes it stand out. Maybe.
Maybe they will do, and it'll be, I'm only using this as an example, but you know the way the first, like the Scorpion boss fight was actually a medley of various themes. Like it had a mixture of the boss battle theme. It had a mix, like it
Mm,
had a mixture of different themes, or actually when you do the motorbike chase in
right.
remake at the end, and it is a medley of here's basically all the themes you've had throughout the game, different battle themes and stuff like that, and the boss theme and stuff. So maybe they could do that with One Winged Angel, where it is One Winged Angel, but there is sections where it transitions into, yeah, like you're saying, the Genova theme, or it transitions into just the boss fight theme,
Yeah,
but it go back to One Winged Angel, and it's just a medley of this is basically,
your
uh,
journey.
yeah, your journey of combat to this final moment.
Mm.
That would be sick, and I think that's what they should do.
Right, when it gets towards the end,
Yeah,
okay. and Zack has been pulled into this world, and
Because
now
we
it's
know it's going to
Cloud and
happen.
because Cloud and Zack are now fighting together. It's going to transition at that point. The price of freedom.
Well, I do want to hear there was a small hint of
Mm,
Price of Freedom in Rebirth, and I do want to hear a fuller version of it reorchestrated
yes.
in this game at some point, which I think we will get. Um, I would imagine Nobuo Uematsu would one last time write the theme song
Yeah.
since he did the last two. I hope it's something like I hope he really brings it. I personally preferred Hollow to No Promises to Keep.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Um, I don't know what kind of a song I would want for the last game. Like, yeah, you have to toe the line and be careful because, um, like Hollow was quite sad. It's quite a sad song. No Promises to Keep is more of a bittersweet song. Like
Right.
it's if you think about it too much, it is kind of sad, but also there's a sense of joy and adventure in it and the journey that they've been on.
Mm-hmm.
With the last one, because you'll hear the song before the game comes out, like, do you want to instill dread in the player because the world will be ending? Or do you want to instill that sense of we can do this together type thing because they're going to take on the final battle? Like, I don't know what the feeling of the final song should be, but. And remember, it always plays in the end credits. So with that context, it's going to play when they've won. So it can't really be a song about doom and gloom.
Right.
Unless he could write it in such a way where it has double meanings, or I don't really know, but I'm really curious what he could do.
Unless he writes two versions.
That would be sick.
So like a big, awesome, epic, we did it for the end, but we only hear the sad one.
Yeah, that would be really, really, really
Hmm.
cool. Really cool.
That'd be a nice one.
I'll be excited to hear anything.
Just
What? Anything at
just
all?
anything, just see images, just
Anything? Oh, gotcha. I can't wait to hear the title. What do you think the title's going to be?
Revengeance, I've said it.
Really? No, do you mean that? That's a joke.
No. It's not. It can't be Revengeance, sure. Like, there's already a game called that. To be copyrighted. Just right. Reunion would have been the best, but they took that because that was stupid.
I have thought
Uh,
about this, right? And I do like. I think yes, they shouldn't have used it. They did use it. Blah blah blah. Does it mean straight out though that they definitely won't use it?
it'll get confusing. I think you said before revival, or someone said. I think I heard
My
someone
my
revival.
theory my theory is that it'll be revival.
Which it does work on brand with the other ones. Remake, rebirth, revival. It kind of has a same sort of not just the or e part, but it has like a
Well, they mean the
similar
same thing. Back
yeah,
again.
similar. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and
So
I think well, now that I could kind of because we've been taught the spoilers, like I think it will imply that oh we're going to be reviving Aerith.
hmm.
But it also means the revival of Sephiroth. It will mean the revival of Cloud's memories. It'll mean reviving the planet from the brink of destruction. Like that's why I think as a title it works. Where it's like it doesn't just mean the same as Remake Rebirth in a game fourth wall break context of oh we are recreating the game,
Hmm.
but within the context of the story, there are multiple points in the story where the theme of revival will be important for that final part. Not all positive. Some of it
Hmm.
is positive and some of it is actually very negative. Sephiroth's kind of revival from his state of, you know, uh, what would you call it? His hibernation as well, really, in the Northern Crater.
His half-life.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stick with it that for me, I think that would be the most fitting title. However, it could be anything, I guess, and time will tell. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about in terms of theories or hopes for part three before we bring this week's discussion to a finish?
How the hell are you going to fight Diamond Weapon? And also,
Any of the weapons? I don't know.
is the cannon going to start in Junon and then somehow end up at Midgar?
Yeah, I always thought it was a weird thing, but it has to really because it's part of the story. I don't know. They lift it with like I think this time around they actually might do a much larger version of like Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, the big helicopters flying with the Shagahad on ropes. I actually
Right.
think they will do massive aircrafts carrying the cannon in a cutscene type thing. Like I think they'll do a small show you them, not the full like this is us taking it off, this is us putting it on, but just like a small cut, even like on the news or something, they might actually see it. Um, yeah, I do think that they will do something to represent. Oh, that's them moving the cannon. As for
Yeah.
fighting the weapons, I have no idea how they're going to pull it off.
He's just fighting its fucking ankles. It'd be like that you remember the Adamantoids in 15?
Yeah, yeah, I do wonder. Like, are they going to scale them down a bit? I don't know
Oh boy.
because they're huge. Like,
Massive.
they are
Ridiculous.
massive. Now, I will say sometimes it gets a bit confusing in that when Diamond Weapon is walking towards you, because he's walking towards you on the world map, and the world map, all the places are shrunk down,
Hmm.
it could be a bit misleading that you think Diamond Weapon is that size in comparison to Midgar. I don't think he is. When you enter the fight with him, he's not that big.
No.
He is very big though, but he's not like Godzilla big.
No, but it wasn't there a point when he was walking through the waters of Junon? He was like fucking Godzilla.
No, there's a different weapon swimming towards Junon that ends up. No, he walks through the water coming towards Midgar.
Oh,
But again,
apologies.
yeah.
Are they shooting at Emerald Weapon then? Is
No,
that
they're shooting at. I think it's called, and I could be wrong because you don't fight it; they kill it. I
Oh,
think
oh, it just dies there.
they
Okay.
killed that one. I think it's called Sapphire Weapon, and it's an aquatic themed one, and that's the one that it shoots all the stuff at like Junon,
All right.
and they shoot through it. They shoot that thing, and it ends up hitting. Oh no, they don't shoot through it, but they do shoot at it. There's all like bazookas and guns and shit. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, I thought it was Diamond
the
Weapon,
one
but I
that
do
they
remember
shoot
there
through,
being a
they do
big.
shoot through Diamond Weapon when they have the cannon at Midgar. They shoot through
Right.
Diamond Weapon, and it hits all the way through him and through the. They're actually aiming at the Northern Crater to try to breach the barrier Sephiroth
Right.
has, and then Diamond Weapon Retaliation shoots a bunch of missiles, which blow up Rufus'
Yes.
office basically. So it cut like in modern cutscenes though. This stuff is gonna look fucking insane. Can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait.
And then there's Ruby Weapon in the desert. I
Yeah,
think that's all the
with his big
weapons.
long arms,
Oh,
big
yeah.
long crazy arms. Yeah. This is I don't know. It's gonna be nuts. Is there a particular? Maybe this is a good point to finish on. Is there a particular part of part three that you're kind of most excited about seeing, or at this point? Obviously, when trailers come, it might change. It's like, oh fuck, actually that looks insane, and or I forgot about that bit or whatever. But at the moment, is there anything you're most excited about?
Um, probably the weapons and the aircraft, just because it is the
Yeah.
most. How are they going to do that? How are they going to pull it off?
And if they pull it off, it's going to be the they nailed it moment,
Yeah.
really, of that kind of from a gameplay standpoint.
Mm.
They could still muck up the story. Um, for me, the part I'm most excited about at the moment, and with how they've been kind of with the story so far, it's very possible that they could either nail it or fuck it up.
Mm.
And it is the cloud memory thing. And even though I know what it is, I just think the moment they bring that together is the most satisfying moment in the original game.
Mm.
And depending on how they depict it in this remake, I think they could like really nail. If they nail it and I get emotional watching it, I'll just be like, yeah, they did it, man. They fucking did it. You know, like one of the best moments in all of gaming. They did it. So I hope they do. Music will play a huge part, obviously, and the actual incredible voice acting will play a huge part.
Mm-hmm.
So we will have to see. But guys, we now want to hear from you. If you're watching YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments. Share your theories, your hopes for Final Fantasy VII Part 3 in the remake series. What do you hope it's called, or what do you think it's going to be called? What do you want to see from a gameplay standpoint? What parts of the game are you most excited about? That's what we want to know. If you want to hear us talk about more stuff like this in the future, do let us know. I'm sure we will retouch on this topic again there is a lot of scope for stuff you can talk about and theorize about and that kind of thing. Um, Especially if we get a theory or if we get a title, it could really change. Like sometimes the word, I remember when they announced Rebirth, we did a whole episode where we were just like, "Oh, what does that mean?" You know, and even the way it was written in red, and like we fucking started to theorize it all. Does that represent Vincent? Does it represent blood? Does it represent danger and death? Where do we think it's going to end? Oh, it's probably Meteor, right? So anything they announce at all could spark a whole new conversation. So
Hmm.
do bear that in mind. So maybe follow the podcast for future discussions if you enjoyed this one. If you enjoyed this particular episode, do give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all those future content discussions. If you listen to us on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take again to give your take on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. That is going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for checking out. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.